Reacting to this development in an earlier interview with TV360 Nigeria, public affairs analyst Achike says that the NLC have resorted to embarking on strikes because they feel it's the best way to get to the government to comply with their demands. He added that the only effective and sustainable palliative that can solve the issue is for the federal government to address the issue of hunger and corruption.
Well, I don't know how many choices really the NLC has. They are using their weapon of last resort to compel the government to attend to their issues, and that is what they always do. Of course, there's always a discussion before this, this last resort is used, and I know that usually that any responsible committed labor organization is aware of the implication of a strike, the implication it has on the economy, and even in the implication it has on the workforce itself. So they do everything to try to avoid such an eventuality. But unfortunately, I think, well, a lot depends on the government. It was the government that removed the subsidy unceremoniously without notice, without warning, and has caused a lot of socioeconomic damage in the polity, eroding the purchasing power of the average worker, and so there is a lot of economic crisis that workers have to live with, and then this is one way I think that they feel they can be able to compel the government to address some of their issues. For me, there's only one palliative that will solve some of the issues in the short term, and that is the issue of hunger. The government, if there is no palliative today that the government can embark upon, if it does not address the hunger in the land, if it does not result in the reduction in the prices of basic food commodities, food items, then the government is wasting its time. Such a palliative cannot be effective. It's as simple as that, because the first law of nature is survival, and food is the primary source of survival. So the government has to address the issue of the cost of basic food items. If they are able to address this, then they can stave off the possibility of social unrest. That's one. The second one is the huge cost of transportation. If the government must look for a way, because it was the government that removed subsidy and created this crisis in the first place. So the government must resolve the crisis that it has created. And let us just say this, that each time you are talking about removing subsidy, that each time you are talking about removing subsidy, it is simply not because the people have committed a crime. Nigerians have not committed a crime by being citizens of this country. It is simply because the political elite in the country have frittered away the resources of the country through corruption, and mismanagement and outright irresponsible behavior. That is why they have to go back to the issue of removal of subsidy.